Hello and welcome to Sweden for the latest round in the UF1R World Championship. A retirement from Edster in the previous round saw him fall behind Sammy in the standings. He'll be looking to rectify that. Roy also failed to finish and has fallen further behind. In the constructors, the big winners were Ferrari, who managed to get 56 points from the last round. In qualifying, it was Sammy who set the pace with a 47.7, Roy just a tenth behind. On the second row, it's Edster and Iron, and they're trailed by Moggius and Steven. Pretty solid qualifying by these two ahead of the top four. Skoda in the other BTS car is 7th, with Nitrous 8th. Grant qualified 9th, but had to miss this race. Wattman out of position in 10th. Then Cyrus punching slightly above his weight in 11th. Diablo out of position in 12th. And then Doof is the last qualifier, followed by Karst, who didn't have time to set a time. Karst also doesn't have his teammate Justin here to back him up, so he's got a lot of ground to make up. So waiting for the lights to show up at Anderstorp, here they are. When the 5 red lights go out, the race will be underway. Here is the view from the back, Karst on the left, Doof on the right. Everyone gets away cleanly. Lightning start by Wattman, but a poor start from Nitrous, who dropped back slightly. And Sammy's made a clean getaway, not being troubled by anyone whatsoever. Looks like Edster, though, has been hassled by several drivers for third position. Steven in there, Wattman in there, and Moggius getting past too. That's really bad news. There's Iron going by too, and Edster slides his brakes and hits the wall, letting everyone by except Doof. And Iron trying to attack Roy, and falling back into the pack with Wattman and the BTS drivers. Oh, it's all very close here for second place. Wattman making a move down the inside of Roy, and he's pulled it off. Meanwhile, down 11th, Diablo has got by Cyrus and Edster following through, trying to make up all that lost ground. But look how far ahead Sammy is already. There's a big scrap for 4th place here. Moggius dives underneath both cars, as does Ed to get by Diablo and Karst. And Skoda is under pressure from Steven and Iron. Iron and Steven getting through at the start of the second lap. When we hear that Nitrous has hit the walls, that'll be another place for Edster. Oh, and Skoda's hit it too. There's Ed getting through. Nitrous has in fact dropped behind both Diablo and Karst, but Roy closing on Wattman quite fast down the straight. Gets the move done even before the corner. So it's Sammy first, Roy in second now, Wattman third, Moggius 4th. Iron is 5th, Steven is 6th, and Edster up to 7th already in front of Skoda. And we ride on board now as he tries to challenge his fellow countryman, going into the long back straight on this circuit. Edster driving like a man possessed right now to try and make places back up through the field. He's got a good run right at the back of Steven. Oh, and he goes through that tricky chicane. Wattman losing another place to Moggius though. And it's got Iron right behind as well. And Edster, as we just saw. But Wattman keeps momentum through the start-finish straight and maintains the place ahead of Moggius. Now Iron is attacking Moggius, going a little wide there, but still right behind him, dragging Edster along with him too. This is a great little fight developing here. Moggius falling back from Wattman into the clutches of Iron, but Edster dives underneath Iron. Oh, that's a brave move. But Iron will retake the undercut and the ideal line through here. But Edster, oh, he's passed both of them. Great stuff. But Iron fights back. Oh, and looks like that was a big hit for Wattman. All 3 of them passed through him. But a bad place to hit the wall, and it's put Iron up into 3rd place. But Edster right behind him, going into the chicane. Oh, and Edster just has so much more confidence there. Moggius closing in on Iron. Oh, I don't think he's going to get the move done there. Wattman now starting to lose a lot of time to that fight, and he's passed by Steven on the straights. It's all going a bit wrong for the Sauber. We switch to Karst as he tries to fight Diablo for 9th place. Oh, makes it through on the start-finish. So good aggressive driving by the Force India driver there. But can Diablo fight back? He moves to the inside, but not from that far back. Oh, but maybe this will be the chance as Karst runs a little wide. We're back to Wattman, who is trying to retake the place from Steven. Moves down the inside at the switchback curves, and he's done it. Oh, Steven trying in vain to get around the outside, but not quite. Oh, Moggius has taken Iron. So that's important in the battle for 4th place. Diablo runs wide, and that lets Karst back through. On board with Skoda, a rather unsightly bump at the front nose cone. Oh, but he's putting pressure on Steven, who seems to have made a mistake of his own somewhere, which allows Skoda to plant it up the inside. And Steven will not like that at all as they move to lap a back marker. His Nitrous finally caught back up to the Karst Diablo battle and got much better traction out of there than Diablo. Should be a pretty easy move, although remember, Chris hasn't finished the race in quite a while now. So he really needs as many points as he can get from this one. starting to hustle Karst. Oh, and forces a mistake from him. And now Karst has got Diablo all over the back of him. Diablo moving to the left to make a move as they go into that tight bottom corner. And he gets it done. Unless, of course, Karst can respond by diving down the inside, which he does. Although it looks like Diablo had that covered too. But now Karst trying to switch back underneath him. It appears he's ahead, but Diablo cuts down the inside because Karst runs too wide. Is Karst close enough to have another go? He closed up a lot under braking. Oh, he just got it wrong there at the chicane. Oh, did Diablo hit the last corner? I think he did. Look, Karst's going to sweep by at the start finish. When Karst once again runs very wide and that lets Diablo back through. It's push and shove between these two. It's been like this all season so far as Karst goes around the outside of Diablo as they make their way through that long right-hander that switches back. And Diablo trying to cut through the underneath of Karst, but it doesn't quite work out this time. Takes advantage of Karst going wide to draw right alongside through the long back straight. But you'd think that Karst is going to pull away under braking at this corner like he did before. He needs to make sure he doesn't mess up though. Good so far. Oh no, not quite. He just doesn't have the confidence. Couldn't turn it in time and Diablo's back through. Oh, and Iron making a mistake in his battle with Moggius, which was let the Frenchman take advantage. And Karst has not given up against Diablo. Oh, right against the wall. The Russian under real pressure here. And the Polish driver in the Force India dives through, but Diablo is right alongside him. Looks like they're about to get lapped by Edster, I think. Oh, and Diablo holds on to the place. And Doof in the Marussia is first to pit. He's chosen pit bay 2. What's everyone else going to choose? Cyrus also going for pit bay 2, but Watman going for pit bay 1. I wonder if anyone is going to dare go for a 1-1 strategy. That would be very ambitious. It could be, but that's what Watman's trying to do. Is Skoda, who's coming in just ahead of Steven. Looks like they're both going for pit bay 1. The race leader, Sammy's coming in. He's going for pit bay 1, followed by Roy just behind, and Nitrous, I think. Almost went to the wrong pit bay there, following the race leaders in. And there's Ed, also going for pit bay 1. He's dropped a little bit behind the leaders. They're still just about in reach, though. And there's Diablo and Karst. Karst going for pit bay 1, Diablo going for 2. That's interesting. Moggius going for pit bay 1 now, as is Iron. But I wonder, is Diablo being a bit too cautious by going into pit bay 2? We'll have to see. Sammy not got the best run out of the corner, and the race leader is suddenly under threat from Roy here. Roy not far behind at all. Looming quite wide in the mirrors of the Marussia. Oh, but Sammy seems to be breaking away a little bit now. And Sammy now really digging his heels into the lead of the race, I'm afraid. The action seems to be going on further down while Iron is repassing Moggius. These two very evenly matched. Right alongside going into the tricky left-hander. Goes into the right-hander. Moggius just about ahead, I think. But Iron dives back underneath. He just needs to get it turned right in on time. And he keeps the 4th place. Whoa, big moment for Iron. He nearly goes over, but he keeps it on track. And the right way up. Ooh, big error for Moggius. Now how far behind is Iron? You should see him going through now. There he is. So he's just ahead. Iron regains his 4th place there. As we see Watman making a pretty early second stop. So he's trying to 1-1. I think there's a bit early to try and do that. As we see Skoda going into pit bay 2. I think Watman should have waited a few laps before that second stop. Steven also in pit bay 2 now. And Iron has gone into pit bay 1. However, Moggius going into 2. So it'll be nip and tuck whether Iron can make the end of the race for having to do another stop. There's Sammy. Sammy's trying to 1-1 the race, but Roy is going in pit bay 2, so he's going to lose time to Sammy. I think Roy will probably have the pace to pull off a 1-1. I'm not sure what he's doing in pit bay 2. Ed is going in 1, as we see Karst coming in just as Roy leaves, and Ed is a few seconds behind Roy. So Ed has gained massively out of that. And maybe that stop has brought him into the fight for 2nd place. We see Chris going into pit bay 1, and Cyrus coming in as well, into pit bay 2. And Cyrus comfortably ahead of Doof, who is coming in now. And Edster has been closing the gap to Roy. You can see for yourselves just how close he is. Earlier on it looked like he was struggling to keep up with the leaders, Roy and Sammy, but now he can sniff an opportunity to get by Roy. However, even if he does manage to overtake Roy, has he got enough fuel in hand to make it to the end of the race? He's pit at the last possible moment for both of his stops, and he's been able to avoid what happened in Antwerp, where he ran out just before that second stop. It doesn't look like either of these guys have the pace to match Sammy, who's also doing the 1-1. Sammy over 10 seconds up the road by now. You can see that Edster's really pushing to find a way through. As we see Diablo emerging from his final stop, and he has been passed by Karst. I told you that was too conservative from the Ferrari pit boys. They filled him for a 2-2, and that means he has lost the position against Karst. Meanwhile, Edster positioning himself beautifully. He got a great run on Roy here into the last corner, and he takes him. Not a place you usually see a move done, but Roy, it seems, caught off guard a little bit there. And Edster up into second place. And here's Watman. He's had to make another stop in the closing stages. I think that will lose him track position to Steven. Iron coming in now as well, so he will lose the place to Moggius. So they didn't get it right. Sammy crossing the line to win now. It looks like Edster isn't going to pit either. Is he going to have enough fuel in hand? There he is, going through the last corner now. Barring any disaster, he should just finish second. Oh, and Rory will be third. Oh, apparently, there he is. Edster had 2 seconds left of fuel there. Moggius is about to finish in a very strong 4th position. But Edster, considering that terrible start he had as Iron finishes 5th, did very well to gain another spot on the podium. There's Steven. He's going to finish just a few seconds ahead of Watman, who slows just before the line, agonisingly. But he will finish a slightly underwhelming 7th behind Steven. There's Skoda, lost a bit of ground and finished 8th. Nitrous and the Mercedes will finish for the first time in about 6 races, I think, ending a run of supremely bad luck. Karst will be 10th, beating Diablo, his Pool C rival, remember, who will finish 11th. Cyrus will be 12th, and Doof Doof will be 13th. An interesting race behind, but the winner really never in any doubt. That's another 35 points for Sammy to increase his lead in the championship. Edster, of course, able to limit the damage to only 5 points. Disappointing for Roy. He may have expected to have a chance at the win there, but cautious strategy at the end slightly undid a solid performance. Iron scored his best result in a while after an entertaining fight with Moggius. Watman's run of stellar form seems to have come to an end. Chris, as I mentioned, picking up 9 valuable points for himself and his team. And Karst triumphing in the fascinating battle between himself and Diablo. 2 more races have passed since then. Here are the results from Shanghai, where Sammy won after a tight battle with Roy and Edster was 3rd. Both of the BTS drivers penalised for jumping the start. They both in fact realised that they had jumped and slowed down afterwards, but if you jump, you jump, there's no point in slowing down. And here are the results from the following race at Dijon. Roy even closer to Sammy at this French venue, but as you can see from the picture in the background, he could not pass him before the line. Ed this time played it safe on the fuel and finished the way back in 3rd. So with these 3 races done, the championship now looks like this. Sammy is 1st on 341 points, Edster 2nd, 50 points behind on 291, Roy is 10 behind on 281. Then it's a big gap to Moggius, who is 28 points ahead of Steven. Steven 27 points ahead of Skoda in the other BTS car. Justin just 2 behind Skoda in the Force India, so he should be looking to gain a place. Iron is a point behind, he's dropped down to 7th. And the top 10 is rounded out by Diablo on 94 and Karst 20 points behind on 74. Just 5 points separate Cyrus in 11th from the Mercedes cars and Watman. In the Constructors' Championship, Marussia on 397. They are nearly 100 ahead of McLaren, with Williams just 4 points behind. Ferrari, still a big gap to Force India, but they haven't made the big gain on Williams that they hoped they would. Still 50 points behind. Caterham just 7 points behind Force India though, with Mercedes a further 44 back, and Lotus still dead last on 80. The next race starts tomorrow, and it's at Singapore. I hope to put highlights up of it in the next few weeks. Thanks for watching the season so far, and remember we're just over halfway through, so anything can happen. Goodbye.